And Luigi Mazzoleni, thank you for his forward-looking vision, well embodied in his gallery in Turin and London, and José Geracci and Martina Bresciani from the London Gallery, the brains behind this initiative. The discussion will have a particular focus on Razza Umana, human race, an ongoing photographic project that represents the diversity of humanity in all its forms. Physical, social, cultural. The project served also as a complement to Toscani's first solo exhibition in London Gallery, Toscani Chef Mazzoleni, which opened yesterday, and it will continue until the 4th of June, showing a cultural selection of photographs chosen by Oliviero Toscani himself.
Thank you for hosting us in the beautiful framework of the Italian Embassy. It's really a privilege. And it's a privilege for me to be sitting here tonight with two beacons of innovation and creativity. They don't have really a need for introduction, but for anybody like me growing up in Italy in the 1980s, the images of Oliviero Toscani really shaped the visual discourse of the country and introduced themes that were absolutely groundbreaking at the time. Oliviero has numerous awards, accolades. He set up the Architecture Academy in Mendrisio and received a number of really sort of accolades from a variety of universities. And Sir Paul here, who also needs no introduction, from beginnings in Nottingham to his explosive success in London and now internationally in more than 70 countries, I believe. OBE, and then Knighthood in 2000, a retrospective at the Design Museum, and a fantastic Instagram account with photos taken by Paul that has more than 375,000 followers. So very much.
All from my mum. She's very busy.
Clicking. But of course, photography is also the topic of tonight and something that both these wonderful guests have in common. I would start just by asking you both, how do you know each other and what impressed you of each other's work?
He's quite clever, that's right.
Paul,
Yes.
let's talk seriously. We are the boys from the same generation, early 60s. Did you ever thought that when you were 20, I came to London hitchhiking, finally we go to London. It was the dearest town in Europe, but they had one road, 250 meters was interesting, King's Road. The rest was sad. Fog. When I came the first time in England, there was still bread rational. There was still the cart until 1963, okay? So, did you ever thought one day you were there at the Italian embassy?
Absolutely not. No, definitely
What
not.
happened?
Yeah.
What happened? What did we do? Everything was wrong.
I caught the wrong bus. Yeah. No, I mean, I used to come to London when I was 18, and I'd sleep on the floor of in Powys Terrace squatting in Notting Hill Gate, which is now the houses are extremely posh and expensive, but then you could sleep on the floor. And it was wonderful because it was a West Indian community and the music was absolutely fantastic at the time, and lots of energy. No, I mean, I never thought, I mean, as a teenager, you probably know, but I wanted to be a racing cyclist, so it was a miracle I ended up in fashion. Luckily, I had a bad crash, and, out of bad things, good things can sometimes happen.
So I know him because I was doing a lot of, at the time, this early 70s, I was working a lot for Vogue, especially menswear. And of course, the editor of Erika Krom was her name.
Yeah.
She was, I said, look at this guy, what he's doing, this Paul Smith. And he was the most was very boring, the rest of it, men fashion.
Yeah.
Bowler hat, striped suit, grey, civil row. I mean, really
Yeah.
was incredible, great, but what a bore. And that suddenly he arrived being, in a way, much more British English than.
Yeah, I was
the past.
using British fabrics, but all in the wrong colour. So that became very popular. Erica Crome said to me, the lady from Vogue, she said, you know, I think you'll do well, but you'll never do well in England because they don't really like success too much in Britain. So luckily I
So you have to listen what they tell you.
yeah, exactly.
And,
So, yeah.
no, and you started talking about London, of course, sort of this is where we are, but what attracts you both about London, you know, in terms of creativity, in terms of, you know, things that are happening now and then, perhaps when you first arrived?
Well, at that time, we didn't really think about creativity. What the creativity?
Yeah.
Did you ever speak about creativity when we were 20?
Well, I just
it
knew
didn't
that
exist.
Yeah.
It wasn't a problem. No, but do you realize that? Now we try to be creative. You ever heard that somebody said I'm a creative?
No,
No.
What we were trying to do is I think it was the second or third generation after the horror of war, so we were just experimenting with things, long hair and dressing differently.
The
And,
girls were nicer than before.
I wouldn't know.
The skirts were short.
Yeah, yeah. The mini skirt.
Mini-
Yeah.
That was a big revolution.
Yeah.
That was a big revolution.
And King's Road, as you said, was very important. Chelsea was very important because people were experimenting. I think the thing was we were allowed to experiment, and we were allowed to experiment visually. So we in photography, there was a lot of change in music, especially the way people dressed was very different. And of course, photography then was very classic. Then it was all about being in a studio and with fixed lighting, and then people like yourself, and David Bailey and many others just started photographing on the street, and it was just very different.
Model.
Yeah.
When I started to do fashion photography, model there were those girlfriend of King Farouk.
Yeah.
They used to travel with 25 luggages and the cigarette hold. Those were the models. So old I was 20, those were women that they looked old, they were old. So we say, we want to photograph the girls that they would say yes to us, because those women you couldn't touch.
Yeah.
Too much,
No.
too rich.
Well,
We didn't have the money and the power to
gone
have those
full
kind
circle.
of women. So we look for Shrimpton, was a girl who sat like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally, a girl could sit like that.
Yeah.
No, it's funny, but the whole society changed because of that attitude, because of that condition of behaving in a certain way. So we didn't do it because we want to help society. No, just very egoistically made. The girl, they have to be generous with us.
And who do you credit as some of your early influences or people that really inspired you or changed your perspective?
I mean, for me, it was the fact I was from Nottingham, from the middle of England, and it was a very provincial city. And so to come to London, there was a lot of a wider scope of music, of food, language. It was a very exciting time. And then, of course, I met my girlfriend when I was 21. She studied at the Royal College of Art during couture fashion. So that was really amazing, because couture fashion was making to fit the body, it's how you constructed things. It was very, very fantastic. And now she's my wife. So 108 years later, she's still, so that was good. That was good.
A serious man, huh?
Yeah.
We are very serious. No, I was in Royal College in 1962 for 6 months as a student.
Right.
Anyhow, I think there is a detail which is very important. Everything, tell me if I'm wrong, everything was future.
Yeah.
Future. The future was what we were looking for, constantly. Every day was future. So nobody was looking back. No nostalgia. We are not redesigning what was already was designed.
Yeah.
Everything was future. We couldn't even copy. We are not even so good enough to
Well,
copy.
we were lucky that we could look to the future because the past had been horrible, you know, with what was going on. So we were allowed to experiment. And of course, in Britain, we were experimenting more visually, whereas in France, it was more to do with manifestation and more political. More political and to do with similar to what happens in France now. Whereas, you know, for us, it was just looking silly most of the time, and looking different. But it was very gentle and nice.
Both of you have this sort of wonderful multiplicity in common, in the sense that you both are not afraid of moving beyond your comfort zone and looking at other things, you know, be it photography for you or architecture or cycling, etc. Sort of what, first of all, what drives you on, what interests you, and secondly, in this world, you know, also for young people, what type of suggestion would you make in terms of, you know, how to foster this sort of, you know, polyedric intelligence?
I mean, I was blessed by having a father who was an amateur photographer. And as we were talking yesterday, I was saying at the age of 11, I got given a camera. And then you had to, you know, you had to look through a little viewfinder, you know, to take the picture. Now we just go cheek like this, and then we get rid of 20 pictures. But then it was so precious film, wasn't it? That you got 24 exposures, and you couldn't. 12. Oh, you were rich. No, I was rich. I had 24. You had 12. Yeah. So you had to wait. So you had to really consider what you looked at through the viewfinder, and I think that helped me look and see. A lot of people look, but they don't see. So, you know, considering things. And I think the thing about young people now is that they're so bombarded with information and comparison and everything. It's difficult for them to be so brave as we were allowed then. You had to be quite confident. I mean, which you definitely were with your photography. I mean, his photography was so different and radical and unusual, and he was very brave. You were very brave to do that, and then it became just what you did, you know. But in the beginning, to do it, and you know, I know a lot of the photographers from that time, and they just taking a photograph on the street was considered weird and strange, you know, not in a studio. So just that, you know, or standing by a telephone box, or the famous picture by David Bailey of Gene Shrimpton feeding a squirrel in the park, you know, things like that. We're like, wow, this is strange, you know. Now it's completely normal. Yeah. Now we photograph our food.
Yes, and you're touching on an interesting point, which is with the phones that we all carry in our pockets, we're all photographers to a certain extent, and have this sort of almost limitless ability to produce images. But perhaps now more than ever, to really see something, you know, is different than just sort of looking around. So, to you both, what do you think makes an impactful image? You know, what really makes a photograph? Maybe we'll start with Oliviero.
Well, please raise your hand, the one who never took a picture in his life. They're all colleagues.
No.
Everybody is a photographer. No, but today, taking pictures, everybody should take pictures. I told the journalist before, taking pictures like driving a car. Why you drive a car? If you are a professional car driver, you are a taxi driver, or if you're lucky, you are a Formula One driver, a chauffeur. Otherwise, use the car for different purpose. Depends what kind of purpose you want to do with your car, where you want to go. So taking pictures is exactly that. And the photographer as a guy photographer with the studio, that is over, it's dead, it's finished. It's not needed anymore. Technically, technologically, cameras are incredible. The best camera is iPhone. You got everybody here has got a phone in the pocket, has got a camera. Strange. Huh? You don't have the pen anymore to write, but you've got a camera. So you have to think about that. So we are totally dependent on image making and image reading. Just think, from tomorrow there's no picture anymore. Impossible. On one side, photographer disappear as a métier, as a profession. On the other side, photography is getting more and more important. And so what a photographer, modern photographer, let's say, there is a little percentage of those people who take picture, who do take picture specific for something. So to be interesting, you have to be a philosopher, and you have to be able to visualize a philosophy that you are, that you see, that you feel. So you have to be able to look the image of your vision. And if you got an interesting vision, you will be an interesting photographer. Otherwise, you just take picture.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah. And we're bombarded by imagery, so to find that little sliver of something which is special.
We're bombarded by traffic, we're bombarded by music, we're bombarded by everything. But there is always a minority within it that we have to look after, because there is the future.
Yeah.
And there's another sort of technological aspect in the future which we were discussing on our Zoom call the other day. I was at the Sony Award last week, and one of the photographers, quote unquote, renounced the prize, saying that actually the image was generated by AI. And again, to the two of you, how do you see artificial intelligence in the context of image making? Is it yet another technology that we will live with? Is it a threat? Sort of what's your position?
No technology scare me. Technology is here to serve us, and I hope it's going to be used and applied in the right way. The most advanced artificial intelligence cannot be so advanced as the most advanced eccentric thinker.
Yeah.
It can't be more advanced than the modern Einstein. You understand what I mean? Because the modern Einstein, what he's thinking right now, is not yet programmed in an artificial intelligence. It will be probably in the future.
Yeah, in the future, yeah.
But that's it. So it doesn't really scare me. Technology is okay. No, the only thing that we are human beings is very problematic, is putting technology serving sometime for terrible purpose, but I hope not. That's it.
I mean, in my studio, we still use paper, pencils, paint, and also we have a
brain.
Occasionally.
A very helpful instrument.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
No, there's a question I make everybody. How much time you dedicate every day to imagine?
Yeah.
Imagine what you got inside. Imagination comes from the inside. How much time do you dedicate to that? As soon as we got a minute, we go to the telephone.
Yeah.
We go Twitter and think. This is technology. Everything is technology. Huh?
Talking about feeding the imagination, when you were working with Luciano Benetton, there was almost like a golden period where, with your Fabrica initiative, you invited a lot of young talent to work together, and it really gathered together designers and sound engineers, people making music, people making images. What do you think was so special about that time? And maybe if you can, recount us, some of the most interesting moments or collaborations?
Very strange, but at Fabrica, that was the place. At that moment was the moment where computers started to be fashionable. But just the other day, somebody was at Fabrica at the time saying, do you remember that the best time was when you got mad to us? And you say, no computer for 2 days.
Yeah.
Piece of paper, a pen. I tell you this about computer intelligence. One of those boys, Ion, I don't know, now he's a very famous designer in Spain. At Fabrica, he came, I'll give you an example of Fabrica. He came to me and said, Oliviero, I need a new model of G4. G4 is a, G4 was a computer, Macintosh G4. At that time, in the 90s, was the latest thing. And I said, you need that? Yes, because the program there is fantastic. So I need that. I said, are you sure? No. Today you need technology, artificial intelligence. And while he was asking me that, in front of me there was a Koinor yellow pencil,
Yep.
And I said to him, instead of G4, I give you this. And he said, well, tell me, what do you think is more powerful, this or the G4? He said, yeah, probably this. And he left. And I remember, I saw the poor boy walking away completely disappointed that he didn't have his G4. So I ran after him, just to give me some come si dice, un po' di coraggio, courage.
Yeah, a little bit of courage.
And I say, Ion, give me the pencil. He gave me the pencil. I break it in half and say, probably this is enough.
Yeah.
No, this is modern technology. Do you understand? That's why Fabrica was great.
Thinking differently. Lateral thinking, not go down the obvious route.
Don't play the galleries.
Yeah. The problem is that we all have so many references, and so we're always in fashion. You're always looking about what all the other brands are doing. I say, well, to my guys, look at the other brands so you know what not to do, because that's the key point. Yeah, because if they're already doing it, it's already done. So let's think left or right of the obvious, and that's all you can hope to do.
And you've both traveled a lot, and you both still travel a lot. And what are some of the things you've seen recently that really captured your imagination and made you think, gosh, this is just so unbelievable and innovative?
I mean, it gets harder to find a place that's remarkable, because we already know so much about the place before we even go there. But I think the way you've approached things with this is where you just go to a small town or a small village and you just take everyday people. I mean, the place I went to most recently, which wasn't that recent, but was Chile, and that was a really interesting place to go, because they're very, very modern. I was really surprised how modern thinking they are, especially the architects, and the architecture was amazing, and some wonderful social housing in Chile.
America is very interesting.
They did this amazing thing, where they built these very low-cost housing, really low-cost, out of wood, and they built a house like this, and this part of the building was empty, with nothing, and this part was a complete house. And then you bought it for a low cost, and if you have enough money, eventually you can fill in the gap. And it was genius, absolutely genius. So you could see some people had started to put in a floor and do that. So lots of great lateral thinking, very good indeed.
So we can expect some of that to trickle into your next collection.
Yes,
South American references.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah, I still have a pencil. or a pen, actually. Pen, yeah.
Amazing. We're standing here in front of Oliviero's images, a project called Razza Umana, which you began 10 years ago, more than that actually. I think it was sort of 2007. Can you tell us a little bit about it and how did it come about and what's the idea behind it?
Well, after you've been taking a lot of pictures, you know, fashion, beautiful girls, you start to go deeper into the humanity. Now, take your passport, look at your picture, you are exactly that. That's why everybody hates each other. We don't like it. We don't like ourselves. There is a moment when you put somebody in front of the camera, there is a moment where that fluid, they call it fluid, comes out, the look. So I started to do that, go around and look at the faces of people, and I travel the world. This is just a little thing, got thousands and thousands of portraits done all over the world. Little town, villages. You know, nobody knows me. I go in the piazza, little street, I hang up a little piece of paper, white, and I ask people to take their picture, they go. And this is an incredible exercise because I don't look at them. I want them looking at us, at me. They all look at us. And there's a completely different attitude. When you look and you are there to be looked at. If you're there to be looked at, most of the time you look stupid. Smiling, try to seduce. Well, if you look at somebody, if you look, you become interesting. You become interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a story, and is a fascinating exercise because first of all, finally you put away all the virtuosism, come si dice? The virtuosity.
Yeah, technical ability.
Of taking pretty picture with a beautiful light and all the bullshit, okay? So nothing. You take away, you take away, you take away, you take away until it's so simple that everybody say, I could have done it. Yes, but you didn't do it. And that's what we don't do all the time. That's what we don't do all the time.
Do you see any analogy or difference with your creative process? Or?
I mean, the key point about my job is not trying too hard, which is similar in a way. You know, you always try to keep it down to basics and keep the show. You know, when we do a fashion show, we keep it really simple. Still costs the price of a small home, but you know, we keep it simple, and you just try to be real and honest. I think one of the, honest. I mean, being in business as long as I have in fashion is quite unusual. You know, it's very, because normally you have this and then you go like this, and somehow I'm still doing it. But that's probably to do with the same thing. Just always realizing that nobody cares how good you used to be and that every day is a new beginning. Those are both sentences I have in my head all the time. That it's always about tomorrow.
And you're very generous with them because I follow you on social media.
Yeah.
And I see thanks. That every other day there is a motivational quote and or you share some of your wisdom with sort of a younger generation, and I think that's really admirable.
Yeah, we have a foundation which is at the moment doesn't really have a lot of money, but what it does is have energy to just give advice to young people, and that's pretty exciting. You know, we've got a few people down a route they weren't going down just because you suggest something they can do, which is exactly what you've done with fabric. Exactly that. Yeah, it's good.
Both of you have been really working also in and around advertising, which obviously is important in the fashion world. And Oliviero, in your case, you have a long relationship with Luciano Benetton for, I think, between 82 and the early 2000s. You were creative director. How important it is to find the right partnership, or in your case, the right commitment, or the right sort of person to commission images and things.
I think that's really tough. Really tough. I think what was good with what you did, especially with Benetton, is that you just took over and did it, and it was so brave.
The middleman.
It was so brave what you did. I mean, just was so confident and positive that Mr. Luciano Benetton just admired it and just thought it was wonderful. But for somebody like me, it's difficult because the danger is getting seduced by celebrity designers, celebrity models, celebrity anything, because normally there's no foundation to their celebrity status at all. It's completely wrong normally.
If you have got no idea, you pay a celebrity, that's it.
Yeah.
Mercenary.
Yeah.
Come si chiamano?
No, that's good. Yeah, good point. Absolutely good
Got
point.
no idea.
Yeah.
Let's get some star.
Well, it's normally because you're insecure and you need a confirmation that you need a bit of a helping hand, Yeah.
Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect, used to say, the quality of the architecture depends on the intelligence of the, come si dice?
The committant,
Of the committant.
Yeah.
So the artist, if he hasn't got an intelligent committant, forget. You can do nothing. If you got a stupid boss or committant, you will do a stupid job. And don't complain that he's stupid because he hired you. That means that you're the result of his stupidity. So don't let yourself be handled by somebody you don't respect. Any good work is made with a relationship, deep relationship, between the committant and the artist. You has to teach your committant what you're doing. And he has to learn, he has to be ready to understand the innovation you bring to him. I was responsible of the image, of the communication, and Luciano was responsible of the industry. He is a special brain. I mean, he's a man who has got a special quality, of course. And he never told me what I had to do. You know what they tell you? T'ha dato carta bianca.
Yeah.
They give you freedom. Freedom. I don't. What the hell? Normally you work, you're not free. Give up to work. You're not serious. You have to be free if you work. You have to be free to do the best of what you can do. What the hell? It gave you freedom. What do you have in prison?
Yeah.
No, normally you go to prison and then you give you freedom so you do something good. Now, do you understand? We've got a very strange relation with work. So, the Renaissance was made by great painters, but at that moment they were the best popes, the most open-minded, the craziest, the most eccentric popes were right there. So you have to have the luck, or you have to understand the problem and you have to look after the intelligent committant. Otherwise, your work will never be good.
Give the opportunity to the people to express themselves naturally, and not be cluttered with other things,
And we can all see some of those works at Mazzoleni. There's a wonderful exhibition that opened yesterday, and it will be on until the early part of June. And some of Oliviero's iconic images, are there for everyone to see and visit. And maybe just referring to those images, and we may have some of them in the back of our minds. Which one, Oliviero, would you pick out as an image that really shaped your career and the way your work is perceived?
I don't have a preferred image. Every image belongs to a moment, and if you are a testimony, a witness of your time, you have to appreciate the time you are. There are moments where it's possible to do certain things. There are moments that you need to express in a certain way, and there are the moments you haven't got the opportunity. So, but one helps the other one, to grow. It's like a stair. You can't do all the time, Bob Dylan was said the other day, I saw an interview, said they asked him, just read my lyrics when I was 22, 25. And now I couldn't write that. I couldn't write that. It's not now not good. I am a different man. So you go through life and you do different things. You live, you expect, you survive certain moment, and other some are incredibly good, and some are incredibly difficult, but one helps the other one.
And Sir Paul, what would you say was a really pivotal moment in your career, or time when things sort of shifted or marked a certain direction?
I think the interesting thing is that I've never thought there was a pivotal moment in my career.
It's to come.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
waiting.
to come.
Yeah. I'm still working
We are
on
still
it.
waiting for it.
I'm still working.
Try
you're
to
up there.
explain
waiting.
it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we look like.
No, I mean, my career's always been just steady. It's never been like a rocket. So I think that's great, because if it's like a rocket, normally there's only one way it can go, which is down. I've worked very hard at never being number one.
And you both create a lot of things, but I would want to ask you, what do you both collect?
I think the better way of asking me is what I don't collect, because I've got one friend in the audience, Sean, who's been in my office, and I think I sort of collect everything. Yeah, he's nodding. Yeah.
Do people send you things as well, sort of? For
Yeah, I mean,
collection?
I would say you're all very welcome to come to my studio, but it's just full of things. I'm very blessed with people sending things from around the world. So, yeah, lots of lovely things. The most beautiful things are the things that are made by hand and from the heart, as opposed to something that's just purchased.
Oliviero, do you collect anything?
I'm not a collector at all. No, I'm not. I don't collect photography. I don't collect nothing. I like to have my hand in the pocket. I don't own anything. But I did plant thousands of olive trees.
Right.
I gave that a lot, thousands of trees. I got a farm in Toscana, and
I'm just going to give you my card for the oil.
I'm a maniac. Olive tree. I like olive tree. Yeah. But I don't collect them because, no, I don't collect. I got a lot of children.
Yeah.
Strange collection.
Collect children.
16 grandchildren.
Wow.
Strange collection.
Strange collection.
Yeah.
I know, Sir Paul, that you have a deadline, and so we've hit 7 p.m., but I would just like to open it to the floor and ask if anybody has any question. Oh, 1, 2, 3. How shall we do this? Shall I give my microphone and somebody can move it across?
There's a gentleman at the back there, I think. Yeah.
So, the back here.
We're all giving our microphone.
Stereo.
Yeah.
Mr. Paul, I just wanted to ask you a question, which is that in the 1980s we had Vivienne Westwood, we had Mary Pont, Malcolm McLaren, John Galliano. What direction do you think British fashion is going at this moment? And could I just make a personal point? In 1994, I married my wife in one of your suits.
Ah, you're the one.
Unfortunately, I can't get into it anymore.
You'll be pleased to know we still sell suits. Yeah. I mean, the creative power of British designers is quite interesting, and the ones you've just cited, have all been quite strong designers. The hardest thing is harnessing the creativity in a way that it works in today's very commercial world. It's a real tough one, because we work in, as you said, 70 countries around the world, and what people want these days is things that unfortunately are not just to do with style, but that actually sell well. So getting that balance right between creativity and innovation and things that are very, very commercial is vital for survival. I'm not sure whether that's what you mean, but it's a very different world to when I started. When I started, you designed from your head and your heart and hoped that people like what you did. And now, as a commercial enterprise, because I'm still an independent company, still after many years, still I'm the owner of the company, and so that's quite tough against all the big brands that there are around the world. So you have to get this balance right between commerciality, things that work well for Selfridges or Harrods or Bon Marché or Rinascente, and then you still need the image things, which is why you do fashion shows twice a year, which I'd happily stop tomorrow, but you need that little carrot of innovation. And I can make you a new suit if you want.
I think there was another question.
Another question?
Yeah. At the back there.
There were.
Yes, hello. My question is for Oliviero Toscani. I wanted to ask you if when you take pictures now, do you still use your old cameras and your old methods, or have you moved on to something much more technological, or the iPhone? And my second question is, you were never just a photographer or an architect or a fashion figure. You were much more of a Renaissance kind of man, doing all kinds of things. Is there anybody now on your sort of vision that looks like the future of Oliviero Toscani, a sort of modern Oliviero Toscani? Thank you.
Well, the future of Oliviero Toscani is going to be a long future, because as you see, I'm just starting, so no problem. And then about technology, I don't care. I can take picture with anything. Depends what is needed. Depends what is needed. I use the machinery that is okay for. I'm not a guy like I'm for. No. All that is over. No, I'm not. I've never been dependent of technology. No, I studied in Switzerland, Zurich, so I know it so well that I forgot. And as I tell you, being a photographer today is a kind of philosophical point of view that you have to be able to visualize. Photography is a visual philosophy. So the way you think, it's not. I never worked for an advertising agency with art creative director that tell me go and photo the lamp like that. No, I never did that. That's okay. There are people who do that, but not my. Has never been my work. So I'm the creative director of myself. I think of something and I come up and say, well, probably now I would like to see something like that. You react to what you see, you hear, you read, and you say probably a picture like that will be a good testimony, a good witness of our time. Okay, you have to be a witness. You have to be a testimony of your time somehow. You have to try to do that. Even when you design a jacket, you try to do that. So you belong to a community. You belong to a community, and I don't take picture for myself. Take picture for myself.
You do naturally move on with what you.
I don't photograph
what is
myself.
interesting.
Actually, it's very for myself, I take incredible picture because I haven't got the limit of technology. You understand?
Yeah.
So I can imagine, that means to imagine and put on image. That is to imagine. Okay? And I put on image the limitation I can do with the technology that is available. But you have to be free. You have to be free. You have to free yourself from all that. And be careful, all the social, all the just waste your time. I got 200 million, how many followers? I don't know. Yeah. I got nothing. I don't even know how to go on things. Yeah. But it's a choice. It's 40 years I don't go to the movies. Of course, you see the movies because you take a plane, and then you see 6 movies in a row, and they are all the same. You love me. I don't love you. You kill me. I love you. You don't love me. I kill you. That's the movie today. That's it. Some violence, some sex, some rock and roll. Not anymore. So boring. So your imagination is much more alive and all that. And this is a question I put all the time to make people be aware of that. You go to see some movies made probably by the incredible movie director, made on a book, and then you come out and say, but the book was much better. So you are much better than the incredible movie director. While you were reading the book, your imagination visualized probably better than the best movie director.
Very interesting.
How come?
Yeah.
How come that you come out and say, yeah, but the book was better? Think about that.
Yeah,
why? What's the reason?
Yeah.
Because we are able to do that, but we don't do it. We kill the imagination in the brain of our children as quick as we can. We oblige them to do what we think is right to do. We haven't got the passion to have crazy, eccentric children around or people around. They disturb. So, all what we are looking all the time is mediocrity.
It's a question for Oliviero. We met twice, today and 25 years ago. I was a student in Trieste, and you came and you gave a speech. That day you said something, came back home, I wrote it down, and I thought about it a lot. And my question today is a before and after linked to what you said 25 years ago. 25 years ago you said...
I said the same thing, right? I know. What a bore, 25 years.
So you said that in order for communications and photography to be noticed and perceived and spoken about, you'd have to talk about 5 elements: life, death, love, family, religions, or sex. So my question for you is, after so many years you said that, do you still stand by on this, or something changed in 25 years?
More than ever. I'm angry against God, patria, famiglia e proprietà.
Yeah.
Translate.
We all get it.
God, patria, Heimat. Say in German, it sounds good. Family, terribile. There are some psychologists here, Raise your hands. Why you make your money? Yeah. Because of the wife, the husband, the mother. The mother that did enrich the psychoanalyst. Famiglia e proprietà are the ruin of società. After 25 years, Yes.
Just like you both have somehow seen the evolution or the transformation of the Western world in the last 20, 30 years or even more, and somehow have left an important mark on your sectors. Is there anything that you kind of look forward to in the future? It's like, how would you see something that is promising, or you're like, oh yes, I would wish to witness this?
In the future, I hope to see Paul for another 50 years.
Yeah, sure, at least.
At least.
Yeah.
No, the problem is that there is a lack of understanding about humanity. That's a big problem of society. We are not devising black and white and thing and thing and British and German and Italian. We are devising rich and poor. And this is a big problem that we are not able to solve. We can deal with immigration. We can deal with the... We won't be civilized until there won't be the libertà di circolazione dell'essere umano. Until human beings won't be free to go around where they want. So this is an incredible problem that we have to face, that we have to solve. But we have to solve this problem. And we are not civilized yet to face certain things. Last night, dinner, just last night, that's the problem that I got lately. And I said, I've been thinking, why don't we do an incredible campaign on peace? Nobody come up with a real idea about peace because we haven't got the head to think of peace. We know about war, violence, we know about that. We know exactly, we are the best in the, just think what we did through the history. But peace, how do we visualize peace? We are not able because we haven't got it inside ourselves. It's not in our DNA. So I'm really scared about that. That really scares me. Humanity is the product.
There's maybe time for one last question. One last question. I know that Sir Paul is on a tight schedule, but one last perhaps.
Oh, thank you. Oliviero, so Mazzoleni, I witnessed two wonderful pictures you took of Andy Warhol. You printed on cement, which is amazing. So what inspired you to that, and also while you're on Andy Warhol, the Fabrica concept and name, was it partly inspired by the factory project by Andy?
Fabrica was made before Fabrica. No, it got nothing to do with Warhol and Fabrica and cement. What the hell? It just they got together by, I don't know what happened. I don't plan like that. I took picture of Warhol because Warhol was a friend of mine in the 70s when I used to live in New York and work there. Of course we crossed each other and became friends because we had some interest, culturally and that's it. You don't look for creativity. Creativity is a consequence. You don't do something to be creative. The artist just do what he's able to do, and then people say, well, he's creative. But if you start to say, now I want to do something creative, I have to find an idea. That means if you're looking for an idea, that means you haven't got any. Everybody's looking for ideas, they don't have any. So it happened that then I saw people, a company printing on cement, and I said, oh, it's funny. I always wanted my picture on walls. Finally, they are on walls without not even paper, not even typographic paper. I say on cement, perfetto. That's it.
Thank you both. Thank you both. It's been extremely interesting and entertaining, but and thank you also to our wonderful host. And I believe there is a chance. No, there are more questions in the audience, but perhaps there's a chance to ask them over a drink in the other room. Thank you both.